Hey guys, Swifty here with a special treat for you today. I'm going to be breaking down three different receivers from this year's draft class and also have a special surprise announcement at the end. So be sure to stick around and don't forget to hit that like button. Let's get into it. Our first receiver might be my personal favorite for the Bears, George Pickens, the 6'2", 200-pound stud out of Georgia. Pickens is a playmaker. He has a second gear that isn't represented by his 40 time. He has incredible leaping ability and can track the ball in the air. He has the body control and hands to work as a possession receiver and make the tough sideline catches. He beats defensive backs for contested catches, makes splash plays, and is huge on third down. He has the looks of a superstar and a true number one receiver in the NFL. His route running is advanced, but he occasionally wastes steps or takes a bit too long to get into his moves. He has the short area quickness to be more than just a possession guy. He can sink his hips and cut on a dime. He can accelerate and decelerate when needed to adjust to the ball in midair, and he has great hands. He broke out as a true freshman similar to Justin Ross. He was the best wide receiver on that team from the moment he stepped on campus. He is a long strider with a huge catch radius. He has the body control to make acrobatic catches on the sideline and often toe taps his way to catches with that toe drag swag. He is an exciting receiver with as much potential as anyone in the class. His downside comes from his injury history and his character concerns. He was suspended twice at Georgia, including once for fighting with his own teammate. He tore his ACL last season, and his route running is really good, but he does need to refine his footwork at the next level. Interesting side note, I found an interview from Pickens where he spoke about how much he liked Justin Fields and how Fields was one of the reasons he initially considered Georgia. If Pickens wouldn't have tore his ACL last season, he likely would be a surefire first-round pick. He showed his warrior spirit by battling back to play in the final three games of the season, and he made a clutch 52-yard reception in the national championship game to help his team get the win. Pickens is big and physical, occasionally dominating cornerbacks with his blocks. He isn't a burner like Jalen Waddle, but he does have sufficient deep speed to take the top off a defense. Pickens looks like a day two steal who could be the best wide receiver in the class if he stays healthy. I see a lot of Dez Bryant in his game with flashes of A.J. Green and Devontae Parker. Pickens is possibly my favorite wide receiver in this draft and someone I would be ecstatic if the Bears drafted. He's another perfect fit for Chicago in my opinion. I think he would remind fans a lot of Brandon Marshall. He has that kind of big playability and also has similar character concerns. He has the upside of Dez Bryant, Brandon Marshall, and A.J. Green, but his downside is similar to a guy like Laquan Treadwell. Heading into this evaluation, Pickens was my personal favorite wide receiver target. I have not soured on him, but I am coming a little bit pessimistic that he fits into Poles' profile. He's coming off of multiple suspensions and a torn ACL. However, he would fit this offense like a glove, and I would be ecstatic if we landed him. Next up is the 5'8", 170-pound track star from Memphis, Calvin Austin. This kid is a blazing fast speedster. With legit 4.32 speed, Calvin Austin is so sudden and effortless when he accelerates past defenders. He is yet another undersized guy who is explosive and dangerous with the ball in his hands. He's a lot like Isaiah McKenzie, and yet another guy that smart coaches will find ways to manufacture touches. Austin is so explosive running routes that he should definitely get chances on third down from the slot. He can make the tough catches over the middle or take the top off a defense. His size will always limit him. He will get bullied in the blocking game. He doesn't have long arms or a huge catch radius, and he may struggle against press coverage in the NFL. His speed and explosiveness should translate, though, and he will be a weapon for some team. He transitions from a receiver to a threat immediately when he gets the ball in his hand, and he's a fun player to watch. If drafted by the Bears, he would be our wide receiver 4 and possibly return kicks or punts this year. This would allow him to develop and possibly be our slot receiver of the future. He will be a weapon at the NFL level. The biggest difference I see with Austin, I think he has a lot of potential to be a legit deep threat in the NFL despite his size limitations. Finally, we get to Danny Gray, the 5'11", 186-pound freak of an athlete from SMU who also has legit 4.32 speed. Gray is an athletically gifted wide receiver and a natural route runner with legit game-breaking speed. He's a track star with a thin frame that is not ideal for an X-wide receiver. He has limited experience as a blocker, and he struggles against physical corners and press coverage. He makes up for his lack of physicality by combining his lightning-fast speed and quickness with a route tree that allows him to attack all three levels of a defense. He is a natural athlete and can occasionally make DBs look silly. Gray is another guy who is dangerous with the ball in his hands, showcasing how deep this wide receiver class is. Gray is very raw, but he has all the tools to develop into a solid number 2 option in the right situation. He's a little thin to fill the Bears' need at X wide receiver, but he could be there on day 3, and he's another guy who could well outperform his draft status. It's hard to gauge his draft stock as it only takes one team to see his physical gifts and overdraft him. I love this kid. He reminds me a lot of Ocho Cinco himself, Chad Johnson. He could go anywhere between the 3rd and 6th round. However, if Gray is there in the 5th round, I would jump all over it. He could be long gone by then, however, if a team believes they could develop him. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdowns today. If you missed it, I announced on Twitter I'll be partnering with CoachT to do a show very soon. Exciting news here, guys. We will break down the game together with my research and his knowledge of X's and O's. We will combine to make some incredible Bears content while avoiding the narratives of beat reporters and the national media. I will link Coach T's YouTube in the description. Definitely check him out if you are into more in-depth Bears coverage. Stay tuned, guys. There's more surprises to come. Be sure to like the video and hit that sub button. I can't thank you all enough. Until next time, bear down.